Here we are on beautiful Jones Street.
You saw Ted Jones.
Sponsored by Stock L Dreamery, the most delicious vegan cheese on the market. We got original smoked paprika and chili, garlic and herbs, and I'll tell you what, guys, this is the best vegan cheese you'll have. Don't forget the cheddar melt. Enjoy the episode. This past Tuesday, I get on stage. It's like a 50-person show in this basement. Shout out Tobin Miller. It was a cool little show. I see my ex-girlfriend from 4.5 years ago, best friend, sitting right in the front row, right on stage. I come on stage, I was like, oh, what's up? Okay, my ex-girlfriend's best friend. People thought I was joking. People thought like this was a set-up joke. And then the crowd just started losing it. I was a little bit rattled, but then I got my thoughts together and it was fine. And like we had an amicable breakup. I literally posted this exact joke on my Instagram like last week. Pop up the clip here. So I ran into my ex-girlfriend on the street, and the last 4 times we've spoken, I was the one who reached out and started the conversation initially. We had an amicable breakup. I was like, all right, next Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. It was a great time for us to get coffee. I was ready to text her right back. She never hit me up, and in my head I was like, why would you not message me? Her and her mother must have finally found out I'm still using their family Amazon Prime TV account. I feel like she felt it was more awkward than I did. Like, I obviously didn't care. It was fine. It was all good. But as soon as I said it, she was like, oh my God, I didn't even know you'd be here. I was like, all right, relax. And then afterwards, she apologized to me. She was like, by the way, I didn't mean it like that. I was like, it's all good. Don't worry about it. Okay, also, I don't know where you guys live in the country or in the world as you're listening to this, but I wonder how much money per second or per minute, like you have your lights on or you have your water on. Wouldn't that be cool if you can measure that? Like you can see every minute that you spend in the shower, it costs like, I wonder what the metric even is. What do you think it is? Like 10 cents? Or every minute that the light's on, it's probably like 5 cents, something like that. These are the things that should potentially be free in the world, right? Tap water. I guess tap water isn't even really free because you'd have to rent a space that has tap water on the tap. Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting thought, man. Interesting thought. So I've been using Snapchat a lot recently. Shout out. You can follow me, TEDJONESWORLD on Snapchat. But I do find myself just having so much freaking content from like the last 3 years of doing TEDJONESWORLD that I'm just hammering like 10 plus videos a day of some original content and some of just videos that we have from the past 3 years. It's actually crazy. It makes me a little bit proud to be like, oh, wow, Ted Jones, you do really have a lot of content. Hilarious clips from all over the place, whatever, from doing vlogs, sketches, stand-up, and stuff like that. And you know what? My mom did bring up a good point to me pretty recently. My mom was like, you know what, Ted? She calls me Teddy. She's like, you know what, Teddy? You're more than a stand-up because you produce all these things. You do this, you do that, you do X, you do Y. It's very nice. Your mom ever say something to you and you're like, thanks, Mom. That was really nice. I guess I needed that. And you know what's also interesting? Like, I think about this pretty frequently. Like within the last, I don't know, I guess it's been like 5 to 7 years, social media has really just jumped forth in our minds and like in life. And like, I can't imagine that we were meant to be on social media for like more than an hour a day. I do miss the times when there was just a flip phone era. Shout out to Zach Brazow, who's talking about how he literally uses, this is a guy who was on the last episode. If you guys haven't listened to it, check it out. Harvard alumnus and comedy star. He was talking about how on the weekends, this kid uses a flip phone. Only his fiance and his mom and dad have that number. That's got to be fresh, man. I don't know. I can see myself potentially doing something like that. Just carry around that weekend flip. I was like, well, what if somebody needs to contact you, bro, and wants you to do a show last minute? He's like, you know what? It's not worth me having an iPhone on the weekends. And, I tried to put my phone on grayscale the other day. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's just when you turn off all the colors on your phone to potentially make you less addicted. But like when I put it on, I just felt gray. I lasted like 3 hours with it. And I guess theoretically that would be the point, is that you don't want to use your phone as much. So you turn off the phone so you're not using your phone as much. But I was like, anytime I even looked at my phone, I was like, bleh, Blech. But anyway, guys, a lot of exciting things going on in Ted Jones World. 420, we have the Earth Day comedy show and eating contest at Neat Burger, which is going to be a freaking movie. I'm putting the Eventbrite right here. We just added another 250 spots because the first 250 spots have been taken up, guys. This is going to be an amazing event. Saturday, April 20th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., 25 Cleveland Place at Neat Burger. We're going to start around 4 p.m. They have like a $1 milkshakes, which is obviously vegan, $4.20 burgers till like 4:20 p.m. We're going to start the eating contest around 5 p.m. If you do accomplish this, you get your name on a freaking plaque at Neat Burger and $25 to Neat Burger. But I think the name on the plaque is pretty cool. It's right at the restaurant. This is going to be a literal movie. We'll have a filmer. We'll have photos, and then the comedy show. We're going to start right around 6 p.m. We have 4 hilarious comedians, including myself. So that'll be great. I'm looking forward to that event, surely. And then we also do have a lot of other things in the works that I don't want to jinx. You guys realize that? Like, anytime you talk about something too prematurely, it usually doesn't really work out the best. You know, that's why I'm keeping most things tight to my chest until it's like about to happen or it's scheduled. You know, so we'll see this potential comedy show that we're scheduling. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. That is all I'm going to say in the studio here, man. You know, got a little bit of leg room kicking up. And I don't know if you guys remember seeing previous solo episodes where I'm just sitting on the couch. I just don't have as much movement. And I feel like on a day like today, you know, I'm up, I'm ready to go. I'm just off a 20-minute power nap. And I got to be honest, guys. Oh my gosh, by the way, before I even get into that, I am over 60 days clean of Nugget. Yes, snaps for Ted Jones. I haven't smoked Nugget in over 60 days. This is the longest I've gone since I was probably 15 years old, man. Am I done with weed? I don't know. It feels like it. Dreams are less out of control as they were. Like the first 2 weeks that I stopped smoking weed, dreams were out of control. You know, I would like go through jokes on stage being like, oh, this dream and this was that. But like now I don't even have dreams to talk about because they're not even as crazy. And by the way, just to get back in the beginning of the episode, when I said I was rattled on stage, good thing that crowd was super hot because I'm not even fronting. I was a little bit like, oh, what the nonsense is going on here? As you guys know, I grade all my sets. That particular set, I think I gave myself like a C/C+, and it still went well. Like the crowd was hot. When I say the crowd was hot, they were like ready to laugh, ready to have fun. They were a younger audience. People were feeding off each other. The crowd was good and nice and tight. Everyone was sitting close to each other. It was a dark room. There are a lot of things that affect making the crowd hot, but this was a particularly hot crowd. So I did well anyway, but in my opinion, it wasn't one of my best sets. But woo, getting back to what I was talking about, took a fresh power nap. And guys, I have been following this Mike Metzger method when we're talking about the gym. I've talked about this previously on the pod, but within like the last 3 months, I've really been implementing it more. And I've seen the most progress in the gym than I have like the last 3 years. I've definitely talked about it before, how I've just been nuts in the gym before, where I've worked out, no joke, like 15 days in a row, where I'm hitting the weights for 45 minutes, a different body part each time, and then running for 45 minutes. But the body does need recovery. Okay. I don't want to sound soft in saying that, but I can notice that just my bod looks way better. My muscles are more developed. Should I go shirtless? Yeah, I'll go shirtless right now. And I think like, or I don't know. Yeah, I'll go, whatever. I'll show you guys really quick. I just feel like a little bit more developed. Maybe not like right now since I just worked out super hard this morning and I had a bagel. But I think like I just feel better. And like the third day off of the gym is when I really start to see more muscle definition. All right, I'm putting my shirt back on. But you got a sneak peek there, eh? You like that? A little sneak peek of the world under the world. You know what I'm saying? But I can just notice that my muscles seem more developed. Now, this method was discovered by Mike Metzger, who's really a scientist of bodybuilding. This guy was working out like 4 hours a week, and I've implemented it. Not training more than 2 days in a row ever. I'll usually go Monday and then Wednesday And then sometimes Sunday or Monday, but like I'm working out 3 times a week. And it's been great, just lifting and running. And the main thing is that you go till failure. So like example, like today I went in on shoulders. I did 5 exercises to failure, and you go 8 to 12 reps, just as hard as you can possibly go. You're out of the gym in 25 minutes. And then I ran for around 30 minutes. And in my opinion, right now, it seems like a better way to train. You know, I'm a young-ish kind of fellow at 32 and a half years old, but I just think my body's improved muscle-wise, strength-wise. I noticed that my strength is getting better. I feel stronger when I'm in the gym. So, I'm definitely going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep it up. I obviously have a lot more time during the day to edit things, to do more stand-up. I just find like my day is more filled with things that I didn't have the time to do before. I'm sleeping like 8 hours, in the gym 2 or 3 times a week. It just feels better. I would suggest maybe if you're a bro, try this split for a little bit, 2 or 3 times a week, but you go to the gym, you warm up quickly. You do like 3 minutes of warm up with 1 set, moderate weight, and then you just get after it. Do 5 sets for a body part, but 8 to 12 reps to where you are squeezing on those last 2 reps. If you're doing biceps, you could barely get that bar up. You're doing pull-ups, you can barely get up there. You're doing whatever it is, pull downs, push-ups, whatever it is to get to that last rep. Because for the past 3 years, guys, and maybe even longer than that, I have spent so much time in the gym. And there were days when I woke up and I was like, dude, why do I look so flat? Like my body didn't even look defined. And I was like, what is going on? I'm working out so hard and like there's no progress here. There is a lot to be said about having mental strength to be able to go to the gym every single day. But I think, personally for myself, I just feel like my mental strength is at a high enough level where I want to test it out physically and see how I can look better physically. And obviously anytime that it's over 40 degrees outside, your boy's going tarps off on the West Side Highway. You're like, Ted, what the schnikels is tarps off? I'm taking my shirt off, okay? Getting some cold air on it. And then some of these days, by the way, like yesterday, it was 70 degrees outside. So I had to get that D in me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Vitamin D, from the sun. But it's been great, man. It's been great. And I find myself doing more stand-up now than I've ever done before. This is like a new age of my career, sort of. Like this time last year, I was just doing a ton of vlog footage. Maybe, I don't want to say more sketches, but now I'm just like honing in on my stand-up. So I'm going through seasons, going through phases, they say. It's like every month I'm doing something different. And I think like being in this industry, that's just kind of what you got to do. There's not really a set way to do it, especially in this age of social media, right? Like I was saying, TikTok and Instagram and all these apps are coming to the forefront. Like people were not on these apps 5 years ago. Even 2020 is, I think, when we really started to see the horizontal video blow up. I can think of a guy like Andrew Scholes being one of the first comedians to really take advantage of the stand-up clips and making these clips go more viral than they ever would on a Facebook or any other platform. And me adding Snapchat or implementing Snapchat into the mix, it's been slightly more stressful, but I'm so thankful that I have all of this content from like the last 3 years of Ted Jones World that I'm just firing up on the platform. And also one of the crazier things now is like I've been using filters while filming people's faces, and that shit is hilarious. I gotta say, man, if I want to make myself laugh, I'll just film someone talking or film someone doing stand-up, and then they have a filter on their face. Bro, forget about it. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So in the family group chat today, I think it was actually my dad who sent it. He said that the Golden Bachelor, that guy got married to the woman for 3 months. They got a divorce. That's sad. But like at the same time, could you guys really think that if you go on a reality TV show for love, that it's going to work out, like Love is Blind or some of these other shows that are on Netflix? It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the pod. I mean, I must have before, but there was this show on Bravo that takes place during the summer. They reached out to me, I think at least 3 times to be on the show. I just never wanted to be put forth on a television like that where I just had no control over my image. I don't know how you guys would feel about that, but I know that there are probably hundreds of thousands of people who submit to these reality shows. Like, for what? To get your 15 minutes of glory and fame? I don't know. Just doesn't seem like it would be for me. I feel like any time that your life can be narrated by somebody else, it just can't really be beneficial unless you're doing an autobiography and you're sitting next to the person who's writing for you and you're paying that person, right? But otherwise, like besides that, people who have like control of your life narrative and control of like your entire career can't be good. Like, that's what happened to our boy Elvis. For I can't help falling in love with you. You know, granted, he did have like a lot of money by the end of his career, but he wasn't doing things that he wanted to do. You know, he was young, naive, and his managers took advantage of him. And I don't want to be like that. Okay? Who's texting me over here? Somebody's texting me? Yeah, I think it was an email. I think it was an email notification. Oh my God, on my iPhone, there have just been like a few things that I've learned over the past 3 months to implement on my iPhone that I had never known how to do. Like my phone was on Do Not Disturb for like a month and a half just because I didn't know how to fix it. And I will say that the amount of times you just Google something, you can figure it out pretty quick. It's messed up, dude. But you learn by doing these things many a times. In editing this podcast, this episode, oh my gosh, what episode is this? 439. Each time that we take a look at it, it's different, you know? Sometimes I'll put up an episode and I'll realize that the dimmer on the camera is not good. I'll realize that the sound is not good. But you live and you learn, man. You live and you learn. But yeah, you know, I keep going back to the beginning of the episode because like, yeah, it was weird that I saw my ex-girlfriend's best friend in the front row of this comedy show. And like, this was around the time of my entire transformation. That's like when we broke up is when I went vegan, when I had the jaw surgery. I was doing too many drugs. And like now I'm theoretically almost sober, which is wild. Being like a sober vegan. I don't think I would call myself that because I'll still, you know, put one back here and there. I think like this weekend I might have a drink or two, but not really that much. And I also find that like after the first drink and a half, like I am good, bro. I'm already twisted. I'm a little bit of a lightweight. But I'm not ashamed to say it. I just think like I was so reliant on smoking pot. Like there was a period of time, like guys, no joke. I was smoking like 4 joints a day. You know, like I would have cutoff times before the podcast. I wouldn't smoke weed. 3 hours before the podcast, I wouldn't smoke weed. 3 hours before I go on stage. And now I kind of have sort of rules before I go on stage with food and such. Like I won't eat an hour before I go on stage. Otherwise I'll just feel super bloated. And then all my energy is focused on breaking down the food instead of focusing on the jokes. So I think you really learn to hone in on your body once you start to take care of your health, mental and physical. You know, and I think it's only really been harped on the past 10 to 15 years where people are really focused on their mental and physical health. People suffer from depression because maybe things that they're doing externally. Right? But yeah, I've talked about on the podcast about how every like 5 to 10 years we're just learning something new. People ask me, Ted, you ever gonna not be vegan? And I think no, we're just too far in the mix. And also there are just more and more vegan foods and substitutes that are getting better, tasting better. For example, the podcast sponsor, Stockwell Dreamery, they're doing a great job with cheese. And that's something that people will say to me is the hardest thing to give up if they were to go vegan, is the cheese. Because there's so many good vegan foods and I'm not a foodie at all. The things I have the most per week, it's probably rice, beans, chickpeas, avocados, and raw cashews. Bro, I'll tell you, I am a raw cashew guy. Okay? Call me Mr. Raw Cashew because that's probably my favorite snack. Favorite thing I enjoy to eat. Favorite treat. And then like vegan pizza, there's a few good vegan pizza places that I'll go to. If you guys want to know, you hit me up, TEDJONESWORLD@gmail.com. But yeah, it's wild to see how things have changed a lot for me, like year after year. You know, like growing up, being a 15 and 16-year-old, I was playing so much tennis, but I didn't really see myself going places playing tennis. I don't know, maybe it was just filling up my time, and there were negative influences around me telling me to play all this tennis because they were maybe taking advantage of me financially, which, yeah, again, like I was talking about on the last podcast, I just had coaches who were like, yeah, you got to play more, you got to do this, you got to do that, where they just like, did they just want to take my family's money and make me play more tennis? Maybe. I don't know. But I was really good at baseball, and it makes me think, like, how far would I have made it in baseball if I didn't choose tennis? And baseball is such a crapshoot because there's so many different levels of baseball, and it is a lot of timing. It's like when you're hot in AA baseball, if you even make it to that level, if you're going to make it into the bigs, how hot you are then. So I don't know. If I think back to my athletic career, I just don't feel like I was ever serious enough or had the passion to pursue the tennis or baseball at the highest level. And this is what I feel like I like doing. You know, I like talking to you guys. I like being in my apartment by myself, talking, or AKA the studio here, talking into the mic. I'm on YouTube here, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, you know. But I think there's a lot to be said to just speaking your mind and hopefully spewing things that are good for other people too. You know, people go through phases where they're questioning what they should do or what's good for them. But I think at the end of the day, you know, as my buddy Ryan said the other day when we were having dinner, he was like, hey man, as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, that's the most beautiful part. And I got to agree with him, you know. Today, as you guys are listening to this, we have Margarita Monday, which is every single Monday. Tonight, except for next Monday, actually, it's going to be Passover. But for every night except for next Monday night, actually, because it's Passover. But Margarita Monday, if you're in New York City, it's a free comedy show. Check the flyer right here. Get to that show. We have amazing comedians. It's an amazing show. And guys, you know, these solo episodes aren't usually the longest, but it's just an opportunity for me to get on here and talk to you. Send me an email, tedjonesworld@gmail.com. Check out our other YouTube channel, Ted Jones World, where we have stand-up vlogs and sketches. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.